This is gonna be a long season. Hello, darkness, my old friend. You've come to talk with me again. Sens lose 5-3 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And with that, we're one game into the season, and darkness has already come back to find me. But before we get into the game, we're going to try something a little different this year. So roll it. How are the young guys now? I finally did it! I scored again! Quit taking penalties! The Sens are gonna blow this game! Way to tie up the stick in front. Not. Well done. Just well done. You better believe we're gonna be having a penalty chat at the end of this one. What a time to be alive! What a long and brutal season that was. This team, man! You know, it's not even that they lost last night that has me so bummed out and frustrated. It's how they lost. We came into this season, we had a brand new coach, we had all this excitement, and all anybody kept talking about was hard work, better defensive play, and a better team overall who focuses more on getting the puck out of their own zone and transitioning together. But what we got last night was the same thing we got with Paul McLean, the same thing we got with Dave Cameron, and the same thing we got with Guy Boucher and Mark Crawford. Basically, the Sens take advantage of a fortuitous opportunity and then hope like heck they can hold on the rest of the way. Much like we saw with basically every one of those other teams, it's not a good way to play hockey, and it costs the Sens dearly. I know it's only one game, and I know there's a lot of runway left, but it's so frustrating. I haven't seen anything different. Anything. Just give me something. But before we get fully into the game, you know the deal. Let's kick things off with lineup changes. Last night's lineup was exactly what we would have expected. Cody Golubeff, Mikhail Bodker were the scratches, and Andy got the start and goal. And coming into last night's game, the Sens were 5-0 against the Leafs in season openers. That means free win Ottawa! It's funny too because coming into the game, I actually had a pretty good feeling. The Sens usually play the Leafs well, and in the Battle of Ontario, usually it's the worst team that gets the win. But for some strange reason when the Leafs were coming out, Dmytro Timashov skated on the ice and I got a bad feeling. I thought, uh-oh, this is not going to go well. And it's Dmytro Timashov. What? But then Erik Brannstrom forces a turnover at the Leafs line. Connor Brown wheels down the wall, drags the puck wide, sends it in front. Brady Tkachuk has his thick body parked in front. He tips one by Frederik Andersen, and the Sens lead 1-0. And 25 seconds into the game, a franchise record I might add, the Sens are up 1-0 thanks to a Brady Tkachuk goal, a Connor Brown assist, Erik Brannstrom's first NHL point, and oh, did I mention, Brady Tkachuk scored the goal because Cody Ceci couldn't handle him in front. Sorry, Leaf fans, but you better get used to that. It's going to happen all season long. Ceci has never been one for manning up in front of the net. And just like that, life's great. The Sens have a lead 25 seconds in, and Brady dunked on Ceci. But then it looked like the Sens were playing NHL, and they just recently changed the poke check button. And then penalty after penalty after penalty happens, and the Sens spend 6 of the first 10 minutes killing said penalties. Thankfully, despite the Leafs having an embarrassment of riches offensively, the Sens somehow keep the puck out of the net thanks to a saved goal by Boro, a saved goal by Ennis, and a saved goal by Brannstrom, and 10 minutes into the first period, the Sens are clinging to a 1-0 lead despite being outshot at one point 11-2. Thankfully, despite a little wobble, the Sens are able to get to the end of the first period, still leading by 1 despite being outshot 14-12, and for a large majority of that period, feeling like all they were doing was hanging on for dear life. Not a great period, but the Sens have the lead, so I'll take it. Unfortunately, after having problems all year last year in the second period, the Sens come out in the second of this one and have all kinds more trouble. After the Sens dunked on Ceci in the first, the Leafs pay them back and take advantage of a Zaitsev gaffe. Barrie throws the puck on goal. Anderson blockers it aside. Zaitsev can't handle the puck in front. Gauthier swings it out from under his feet, goes through the legs of Anderson, and just like that, barely 2 minutes into the second period, we're tied at 1. Oh boy, this Zaitsev thing is going to be all kinds of fun, isn't it? And just about 3 minutes later, Anderson's again banging the puck out with his blocker. The puck is loose in front. Moore jams it through the legs of Anderson, and the Leafs lead 2-1. And unfortunately, much like what happened all of last year, Anisimov is literally standing beside his guy, but doesn't do anything about it, and Moore is able to bang the puck in the net. If this goes on all year again, I don't even know. Like, I just don't know. What are we, how are fans supposed to watch games? They can't even cover the net! But then, thankfully, the Leafs let the Sens out of their own zone. Chalapik high sticks Marinson, who throws a stick, put his hands to his face. The Sens keep going down the ice. Chalapik feeds Pajot, who goes back across the ice to Sabourin, who bangs it in the empty net. And we're tied at 2. I mean, Chalapik did high stick Marinson on that one. So it's not like that should have counted. But Sabourin has his first NHL goal, and just like that, we're tied at 2. What a great story for Sabourin. He scores his first NHL goal in his first NHL game after just making his hometown team, despite spending 7 years in the minors and having more career AHL fights than goals. And he does all of that against his hometown team's biggest rival. Hey, Austin Matthews, I'll bet you know who he is now. Then a couple minutes later, the Sens come back into the Leafs zone again. Ryan hits Hainsey as the trailer. He fires one by Anderson, and the Sens lead 3-2. This is going so great! Brady dunks on Ceci thanks to Brown. Sabourin gets his first NHL goal, and now Hainsey scores? I couldn't ask for a better start. Then the broadcasters announce that the Leafs are challenging the play for offside, and without seeing the replay, I think, oh man, this one's coming back. No way Babcock challenges that knowing his team can take a penalty. He definitely knows it's offside, and he was right. Ryan lifted his skate before the Sens took the puck in the zone. They were offside, and the goal gets called back. Remember when I said this was going so well? A couple minutes after the Hainsey goal gets called off, Brady Tkachuk turns the puck over his own zone. Riley feeds it up the ice to Nylander. He goes cross ice to Matthews, who is wide open because the Sens are caught changing. He beats Anderson, and it's 3-2 Leafs. And it just had to be that stupid Matthews, too. A terrible line change leads to the goal, but to be brutally honest, there's only one guy to blame on this one. Brady cannot turn the puck over at the offensive blue line like that. I know he's young, I know he'll learn, but that just cannot happen. Led to a goal, and the Sens are now down. Then, before the period's over, Philip Chalapik takes the dumbest penalty you could ever imagine and pile drives the Leaf from behind despite nothing going on in the corner. The Leafs go to the power play. Mitch Marner feeds Matthews with a filthy behind-the-back no-look pass. Matthews has a wide-open net because nobody saw that coming, and it's 4-2 Leafs. And of course, it had to be that stupid Matthews again. Let's be honest, though. That goal had absolutely nothing to do with Matthews. He was the beneficiary of a ridiculous pass by Marner. You want to find a guy that passes the puck like that? The odds are the guy that receives the puck is going to score almost every time. Like I said, none of the Sens saw it coming. Pajot almost luckily got his stick on it, but he didn't. Matthews got the goal, and the Leafs lead 4-2. Thankfully, that was as bad as the damage would get, and despite being the Sens outshot 17-3 in the period, it's only 4-2 Leafs after 2. And I mean, only. But then in the third, Anisimov has the puck and literally just passes it to the Leafs defenseman. I mean, what was that? The Leafs then come back, pass, cross-ice pass. There's Mikheyev, Easy goal, and the Leafs lead 5-2. If this is how things are going to go, and Anisimov's not going to cover the guy in front, and he's going to provide brutal giveaways to the other team, just get him off the ice. If this is how things are going to go, this is ridiculous. Where's Zach Smith when we need him? Then the game's long out of reach, so naturally, the Sens tack on another and make it at least look sorta close as Bobby Ryan picks up the puck in the slot, fires it by Frederik Andersen, and the Sens trail 5-3. But who cares? The game was long over, and really, let's just go home. And go home they do. That does it for the game, as the Leafs skate away with a 5-3 win. And the Sens start off another season with another loss. And before we get into good news, bad news tonight, let's try something a little different. I don't know if I'll do it all season, but today, let's get into goalie check. I was a little rough on Andersen in my prediction segment, so I feel like I should point out, while he wasn't great last night, with some pretty rough rebound control, it was not his fault the Sens lost, and he was just fine. Now, for the good news. I was really anxious to see this guy in a regular season game for the Sens this year, and while he wasn't great last night, I was really impressed with what I saw from Erik Brannstrom, especially in puck battles in his own end. A number of times last night, Brannstrom went into the corner, and he's not the biggest guy, so he ties up the stick, uses his foot to get the puck, and helps his team move it. And other times, he just took the man and let somebody else get the puck. Those are perfect defensive plays. Honestly, I was never concerned with Brannstrom's ability to play offensively. My concern was always with his defensive game. After last night, some of those concerns are gone, and that is the good news. And speaking of a young player, now for the bad news. Last night's bad news was Drake Batherson. I really love the kid, and I was really excited to see him make this team, but last night was not good. He didn't have a great camp, and he was a -4 last night. It's just not good enough. Now, I'm going to place a chunk of that blame at the feet of DJ Smith and the Sens coaching staff, who tried to pair him up with Anisimov. What was that ever going to accomplish? Anisimov, 4th line, Batherson, 2nd line, and if you don't want to put him there, send him back to Belleville. That Anisimov and his Batherson line was terrible last night. Wasn't all their fault, but they still did nothing to help themselves. And that is the bad news, especially for Drake Batherson. Now, like I said off the top, I do like Batherson, and I do think that he deserves a chance with the Sens this year, but many more performances like that, and it really is time to send him back to Belleville. I think Saturday's a huge game for him. If he has another one like he did last night, it's possible it's his last game in Ottawa for a while. Now, next up, the Sens head home for their season opener Saturday night against the New York Rangers. The Rangers come into that contest having played just a single game as they take on the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Looking back to last season, the Sens did take 2 of 3 from the Rangers, but the Rangers have since added Capo Caco and Artemi Panarin, so it's not like that team is going to look anything like the team the Sens played last year. This Rangers team, I think, is actually going to be really fun to watch this season, just not on Saturday night. At least not if you're a Sens fan. So, that does it for this video. Click like if you liked the video, share it with your friends if you really liked it, subscribe to the page if you haven't already, and today's question is going to be, how much longer would you give Drake Batherson before you'd send him down? See you Saturday night when the Sens take on the New York Rangers.